Going from one annoying killer to another in terms of our reacts. We're going to be talking about how Reworked Skull Merchant is still a problem. If you are somehow living under a rock, Skull Merchant can no longer put drones over gens and win the game for free just by kicking, but she kind of replaced her power with something that is equally uninteractive, but not in a way that helps her win the game for free. Helps her win chases for free. So she is, you know, I'll take this. I'll take the nerf. I'll take this version over the other version, but that's not saying much. Because it's still not really the most, like, entertaining character to play as. Yeah, this video is brought to us by Donut Boy, who's a very, very good and wonderful content creator. So make sure that you click that link that just showed up in the Twitch chat. Oh, Eli is rating me. I appreciate you trusting me, people. That's very, very kind of you. Make sure y'all follow Eli, or else I hate you. Yeah, anyways, Skull Merchant, big stinky, still not the most fun character in the world to face, and you're gonna find out why in this video.
Worse spot now than she was before, to the point where she is the easiest.
Worse spot now than she was before? We are 5 seconds in this video. I will never, ever go back to I kick Jen and I win. This, no matter how not a lot of improvement it is still an improvement because she literally can't just stand still and win the game for free. That alone makes it worthwhile. Anyways, continue.
Simplest character in all of Dead by Daylight. You may be thinking that after her rework that she's not as bad anymore, that now that she can't infinitely defend generators that she's fine now. But
no, she's not fine.
That Chess Merchant
she's just better.
Is gone, but rather that her kit has shifted from infinite defense to infinite offense. Chess Merchant's main issue is that she could place drones on generators and survivors couldn't do generators because they'd get detected and lose, right? So what is Skull Merchant's new game plan then? She places down her drones in loops and she wins there,
free
where
injuries.
In both scenarios, survivors have no options to realistically win. Let's start with the first issue of the Skull Merchant's power, and it is the most important part of any killer power, the counterplay. Most,
this is a disgusting build you're running on them too.
Form of
I see that down there.
Whether it is difficult or easy, if it's something in chase or outside of chase, every killer has some form of counterplay. When they designed the Skull Merchant's new power, I'm pretty sure they forgot the whole concept of being able to play around the killer's power. See, other killer kits who can be shut down in chase, like the Knight with his standard, Singularity Camera with EMP, or blocking line of sight against Huntress or other ranged killers. However, Skull Merchant has no sort of counterplay like this, as she falls into the worst category.
The counterplay is to get rid of the drones, but you can't do that mid-chase. But the counterplay is to do the minigame to get the drone down, but when she's placing it mid-chase, you can't. You can't do it. So, like,
of counterplay, holding W. The only winning move is to not play. The best way to deal with Skull Merchant is just running away in a straight line, an effective tactic, albeit incredibly boring for both sides. Due to how her drones operate, something I'll get to later, the vast majority of times you cannot ever try and loop her. Her ability to place down drones is instant and basically infinite, and if you're caught, in 9 out of 10 scenarios, you'll just straight up lose the chase with no options available.
Where, or the SpongeBob episode, where the guy's going, hoopla, and they throw a brick at him.
Just press one button, and the whole loop is instantly trapped, set up instantly. And if you decide to keep looping instead of running away, you will be hit with so many status effects that you wind up getting an achievement. There's only one sort of counterplay to her, but it is not a realistic one at all. The best way to deal with Skull Merchant is, yes, taking out her drones, but that is more often than not only possible in a Survivor with Friends, being in a coordinated team. This is not possible in public games, due to survivors lacking communication and having different plans for what they want to do. If they want to heal, split gens, focus gens, etc., etc. In a public solo queue game, it's not like the Meg will tell Dwight to go disable the drone in Shack because Dwight either A, doesn't know that there is one in Shack, or B, he thinks that they need to pressure gens first. Then obviously, of course, Survivor Friends beat every killer in the game, so saying Survivor Friends beat her and is her counterplay is like saying Nurse is overpowered. We all know this.
Yeah, but like a character needs to have some sort of counterplay that isn't only accomplishable by comms, right? It shouldn't be the only thing, you know? It should have something else you can do outside of that, not just the only thing.
It's painfully obvious what killers can do against Survivor Friends. Not much. However, this is only a short-term solution and doesn't help the survivors mid-chase. If a survivor gets caught in a bad area with no loops nearby, it's better to just try and run into a corner and waste as much time as possible, because it's not possible to ever win a chase against a Skull Merchant. There's no exception.
Survivors an option to disable them chase? It would be kind of neat. to like be like mid chase and have to like do a button sequence, not like as long as the one that is currently in the game. You can just save that for stationary drones, but kind of like a quick time event. That would actually be cool. We may actually be onto something. What if you had to do it like it was like a quick time event? Because like that's not a thing that's ever been done in Dead by Daylight before. It's in plenty of other games, but that doesn't exist in DBD. What if like you had to like do a quick time event to like dodge like the claws, and if you fail, you get clawed? Take notes, behavior. That sounds fun.
The longer a match goes for, the better and better she gets. A good concept for a killer's game plan, but executed horribly due to how laughably simple her win condition is. This is still the least bad part about her kit. The second worst thing about her kit are the drones itself. The Skull Merchant has been transformed into a trapping killer like Hag, Freddy,
just shove her in the delete bin. Yeah, they can't seem to get it right, unfortunately.
All of the trapping killers have one thing in common, and that's after a trap is activated, they need to be replaced or activated again. Skull Merchant is the exception to this case, as her drones will stay around forever
which is
until
silly.
they're disabled. Another thing is that the Skull Merchant's drones will repair themselves. It's like if Trapper's Iridescent Stone was base kit, so even if you disable it, it'll only be a matter of time until it activates.
Don't think deleting? We're joking.
What's even really the point of disabling it?
We're
it's just
joking.
Gonna come back a few seconds later. Meaning that she can truly set and forget her drones with minimal thought required. Unlike the Trapper or Hag, having to think carefully about where they want to place their traps because it takes a few seconds to set up and how it's a one-time use, she can place them down instantly while moving and gaining undetectable.
Yeah.
Yes, Freddy can place down his traps while moving too, but
he's
his power
slow.
only works while survivors are asleep, meaning that if they just use the clock to wake up, he effectively has no power against them for a whole minute. Skull Merchant 2 has the easiest power in the whole game to recall out of every other killer. Compared to killers like Singularity, Knight, or Trapper, who need to manually go out of their way to recall it, or killers like Hag or Freddy where their oldest trap gets destroyed instead of being able to select which one they want to get destroyed, for the Skull Merchant, all she has to do is look at it and can recall it with the push of a button. No cooldown or anything, just cross map, push a button, that drone's recalled. Compared to a killer like Demogorgon who can't even undo his power without a survivor destroying it, it makes this seem like a godsend. And even if you disable them, that doesn't do anything. While disabled, Skull Merchant can still
I'll never go back to the chest zone.
So it's not even like disabling limits her powers for a bit like before, as she can just boop and it's back. At least with the old Skull Merchant, when a drone was disabled, it couldn't be replaced until the claw trap was off of the survivor. But now, as soon as a trap is disabled, she can instantly call it back and place it down instantly. So survivors waste more time than the killer does. Like, look at how easy it is to replace. If they made it so that the drone is unresponsive to commands after being disabled, therefore can't be recalled, it would be much more effective in disabling them, because then she's out of a drone for a while, but nope, it can instantly be recalled and replaced whenever she wants. Next is that as the match goes on, the effective play area decreases, as obviously if there's no gens on one half of the map, there's no reasons for survivors to want to run there, and there's no reason for killers to want to try.
It's essentially like you went from having like some sort of like terminal disease to like having like a very intense flu or stomach bug. Like, you're still sick. We still have a very big problem at hand. We're just like not dying anymore. That's how this feels. Like, good news, you're not dying anymore, but you're still incredibly sick and you can't leave bed for a very long time. It's like we're still in the rut here with Skull Merchant.
Loop there. If there's no generators or any sort of pressure there, why be there? This is something common along all trapping killers, but Skull Merchant makes it, of course, worse due to her drones lasting forever. Meaning that if you get caught in the half of the map with 4 drones that are active, that's
congratulations, you'll live,
jungle
but you'll
gym
wish you didn't.
And loop trapped, and it's only a matter of time until you're hit with the worst part of her kit. Since her drones stay forever, that means that she doesn't even have to replace her drones after downing someone, like with Trapper or Hag. It just means that the next time someone runs through there to try and loop, they're already fucked. But now, let's get into the true worst part about her kit, the part that completely makes this killer the easiest in the game. After running through her traps long enough, you will get the claw trap put on you, making you broken and, if you were scanned again, deep wounded and hindered.
Why does it have to do all 3? Like, I don't understand this. This is the part of this that, like, you should have seen coming a mile away that this was gonna be annoying and a problem. Why all 3 of these? Why all 3 of these? Yeah, like injure deep wound, that's one thing. Injure broken, one thing. Injure hindered, I'd probably not take that by itself, injure hindered. But it does all 3 of these. Like, how did you look at this in testing and go, Oh, yeah, that's fine. That's not too much. That is. You have other killers out here trying to like bring add-ons, bring specific perks to try and get a ton of status effects on the survivor. And this character does 3 different status effects and an injury all in one with no perks or add-ons required. How did you think that that was going to be like totally kosher? How did you think that was going to just like, how was that going to fly? Anyways.
We have 0 options at this point and nothing can save you, but this is only half of the issue. The other half is that she gets faster. For every survivor currently on the radar, she gained more and more haste, meaning that because you tried to loop one too many times, you are now 10%.
We just had a video where we're reacting to Clown, right? Like Clown's trying to set up like yellow bottle here, purple bottle here to try and like, you know, skill difference their way into a hit. And this character just does that for free without thought, which is just kind of like an insult to Clown. It really is. It's an insult to that character.
And she's 3% faster at minimum level. Let me put this into perspective for you. Wesker's Hindered is 8%, which activates after getting hit and takes about a minute or so to fully infect you. Clown's is 15% for 2 seconds after leaving the cloud. Skull Merchant's is 10% for 6 seconds. It both lasts longer than Clown's and is stronger than Wesker's, while also of course being
which is just
wounded,
silly.
broken, and constantly shown to the Skull Merchant because of the trap. And then again, she gets haste. See, at least Clown needs to think about where to throw bottles, and reloading them takes time, but Skull Merchant can spam her drones and gain haste and hinder survivors at the same time. Like I said, the longer you stay in chase against a Skull Merchant, the worse it gets due to the status effects and unavoidable hits.
I missed your stream yesterday.
If she places her drones down in
I usually
any
don't miss your
hotspot
streams.
like
I felt bad.
Tree, Shack, main building, or anything like that, and you try and loop it, you will be affected by the claw trap and hindered, so no exceptions. But this is still only half of it because
she's
of course
oblivious.
she has
Don't you mean
amazing
undetectable?
add-ons, and she has basically everything. Blindness, she has it. Oblivious, she has it.
Well, as an
Sloppy
add-on, she's
Butcher,
oblivious.
she has it. Exhaust, she has it. She can even make the
Plus, that's what you
hindered
meant.
stronger and last longer, or make her haste stronger. She has everything. So not only could you
Been
be
hit for 5
broken
minutes
and
with a box,
debooted,
dude.
she
I'm the same way with Xenomorphs. Xenomorphs get me on while I'm playing Survivor, and they just have such a horrible time because I'm like, I wrote the playbook you're playing with. Like they just like they're like, why is this guy so good against me? I'm like, it's because I am you.
make you slower, make her faster, you unable to hear her tear radius, or make you mangled/hemorrhage. She just has everything. You can't even try and body block against her since the drones will injure everyone trying to tank. So it's not even worth trying to group up because then you can have multiple people scanned that are broken and deep wounded, which is a major liability. Along with that is that you can't tank against her at all due to the deep wound. Dead hard, off the record, buckle up, etc. don't work because of that. And you can't even hide against her because her claw trap reveals you no matter what. So distortion or calm spirit can't save you. You just lose. So to recap and bundle everything she can do together. She has drones that can be recalled and placed instantly while moving that give her undetectable. They stay forever.
I know what pisses me off, so I'll piss you off. That's that right there is literally I know this is probably annoying for people. They're like, I want to know about the Skull Merchant, but Skull Merchant's boring. You don't need to know anything. That is like the only reason I am even semi-sentient on Survivor. Is because I have played so much Killer that I know what is so frustrating about playing Killer, and I'm just like, oh, I'm just gonna go do that. I'm just gonna go do those things. Do things that would make me angry, and it mostly works.
With a kitchen sink of status effects, she can make you slower and her
Or
faster
Legion. I think
for
Legion's
free,
in a pretty
and
good
you
spot.
can never escape her.
I don't
Chase,
think Legion needs
zero
any buffs.
counterplay, and you just lose. Like even against other top tier killers, there are at least maybe 1 or 2 things you can do against them. Blight or Nurse hide in a locker while they're in their power since they can't open it. Spirit can't vault or go through pallets. Artist, you can try and bait crow shots. God, that sounds like an innuendo, etc., etc. Like I said before earlier, though, these aren't exactly easy or, good counterplays
I didn't think so, but
to other
sure.
killers, but still they are viable options. But for Skull Merchant, once you're hit with the Claw Trap, it's basically already over as you get hit with a 13% speed difference. You get a 10% buff, and she gets a 3% haste boost. You can't dead hard to save your life, nor can you escape her. She truthfully just wins, and you cannot do anything. I wouldn't even count her quote-unquote counterplay of running away and holding W as true counterplay. Because you're
it's
not
dependent on where
countering
you
the
are.
power and disabling it or anything. No, instead you are just avoiding it. Like I said earlier, the only winning move is to not play. I guess if you want to consider holding W against her counterplay, sure, but I wouldn't really consider
Yeah, that's really dependent on what part of the map you're on, because you could W into a dead zone and just take a hit. right? It depended on how, you know, condensed the resources are on whatever
because
map you're on.
that's something that happens universally with most killers. You can just hold W against every killer in the game, so it's not exactly counterplay, it's just a tactic to avoid any killer's power. You can hold W and run away from Trapper, or Hag, or Pig, because not like they can really catch up. Same thing with Skull Merchant, so I wouldn't really consider it specific counterplay against her. That's just, you know, something
Leaving out the
universal in
DC
game.
button is the
I guess the
counterplay.
only real downside to her kit is the fact that she has 0 map mobility, but she makes up for it by having every single status effect you could possibly need and making it impossible to escape against her. I am glad that they got rid of Chess Merchant and her power not working at all against injured survivors, but what we have now I'd say is just as bad for different reasons. And again, I have no real solutions to fix this other than tweak some numbers.
Yeah, her little power
reduce
walk
the
looks
hinder,
weird.
remove deep
I know a lot of
wound,
people feel that way
roll
about
around haste,
Sadako too.
etc., etc. As is now,
she moves
she's
really
still
fast.
maintaining the highest kill rate in the game. So
Does
it's not
she?
like
I
they
didn't know that,
changed
actually.
anything. She's still the best
I hate
killer
that
at destroying
Sadako's up
solo
there.
queue
That hurts me.
players. However, I did commit the cardinal sin of buying her with auric shards, and I became the very thing I swore to destroy. And like I always say, the more you despise and hate something, the more you'll eventually love it. And this sadly is the case for me. Skull Merchant is such an easy fucking killer that you can turn off your brain and always at minimum get a 3k. And so far out of like my 30 matches, I have yet to lose a single match because she is that simple.
That hurts.
Sadly,
that hurts to
one
hear.
of my subscribers somehow got caught in the crossfire. So if you're watching
Gage
this,
watches my videos
I
too.
apologize.
I
This
love
was for an
Gage. Hi
experiment.
Gage.
I didn't
Hopefully you
mean to
watch
hurt
this.
you.
I appreciate you.
I don't have anything else to say other than please come check out my stream tomorrow, this Monday. If you're watching this today, it goes live.
Got a
So
cameo.
take care of yourselves and have a damn good one. Peace.
Yeah, I completely agree that, you know, while I will take literally anything over her just like standing still and like winning the game for free, yeah, she's like, somebody made this comparison, and I forget who it was, so you raise your hand. Somebody made the comparison that Skull Merchant is kind of like, new Skull Merchant is kind of like old Legion, when they had the little exploit where they could just like turn around deep wounds you until you were dead. It's kind of like that for your first health stage. You just kind of like chase enough, and if you chase enough, you just get to down them, or you get to injure them, and then, you know, because of all the stat effects, you do get to down them. But yeah, it's like, it's kind of like that, where it's like, while she's not the most powerful character in the game by a long shot, you do just kind of like not have any counterplay, and it's just like completely lazy. Like you do just get free like there's no other way to put it. You just get free like you get to do what Clown is trying to like skill their way into doing for free. And it's like, I don't know, man. Like I said, maybe we can add like quick time events to like delete the try to give you a chance to delete the drones mid chase. You'd have to make those pretty difficult, because like good players would just be able to like win, or like, you know, win the you know, put in the quick time event every single time, and like, you know, then she wouldn't have a power. But that could be a good start. But like, I don't know. I don't think making her for free chase was the answer. I don't think that was the better option here. I don't think so. So they definitely need to do something else that isn't this. It's better, but like I said with the analogy earlier, it's like being terminally sick and then just having a really bad flu that leaves you bedridden. You're not better yet, you're just not dying anymore, which is an improvement technically, but like, I would still rather not be sick. Yeah, I agree, Sylvie. I don't know why she needs that many status effects for a drone. I don't think she needs that many. That would also be another good change. So, yeah.